Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to Let's Play .hack GU Volume 3, and holy cow, 37 minutes? Are you kidding me? Jeez. Like, I had really thought when I said earlier that not every episode was going to be that long, that I meant it. I don't know, I guess I just underestimated what I did. I'm sure when I was putting these together before recording the commentary, I was just like... I don't know, like 35 minutes was like the maximum kind of video length that I wanted to do on a regular basis. At least as much as I could try for like the main Let's Play, so I just figured, 2 minutes over, not a big deal, but god, jeez. At least that had like story stuff in it. This is just me like rambling on for like 37 minutes. Lucky you guys, right? You may click off the video now. But we got to level 150 in between videos, so I felt this was a good time to do that Sweepstakers, that mysterious team that emailed us and wanted us to go into the arena. Now, like I mentioned earlier, in the first post-game part, you know, even though they're 150, if you're at 150, they're really not much of a challenge. So if you even wanted to go in a little, like, earlier, just to get, more of a challenge out of this fight, feel free to go right ahead. And, like, I'm not even using Epitaph users. I mean, I don't know how Alcade and Shino stack up to other characters, like, stat-wise, but I'm sure this would be even easier if you were using Epitaph users, especially if you had their lost weapons powered up all the way. Now, one thing I do like about the Sweepstakers here, I don't know if you just noticed it there, all of these, characters... The case of the goosebumps! I don't know why he says it like that, but that's so funny to me. But anyway, all the characters here, they're actually... You probably would guess, like, what class they were just by looking at them, but you'd be surprised. Like, this bulky guy here, he is the Harvest Cleric. That little girl that looks like she should be a Shadow Warlock, I believe she's... Is she the Broadsword user? I guess we'll find out in a second. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she is. And then the guy that looks like he should be the Harvest Cleric is actually a Twin Blade, so that's interesting. I tried looking stuff up about the Sweepstakers, because, you know, something I found out about my most recent play of the original .hack series a couple of years ago was that a bunch of the NPC characters were actually named out of characters from another game CC Corp had worked on before. And I never knew that this entire time, and I thought that was pretty interesting. So I was thinking maybe, you know, maybe something similar was with the Sweepstakers here, but I couldn't find any info about it. I mean, I didn't look very long, so I'm sure they gave it a little more effort than maybe, but... I don't know. I feel like finding all the stuff out that I want to find out about .hack GU is just going to come coincidentally while looking through .hack GU forums about other things, rather than looking stuff up myself. Because if I'm not getting directed to the wiki, then I feel like I'm just kind of getting nowhere with my search results. The only other thing I can think of is maybe since they're called the Sweepstakers, because it's kind of a weird name. Like, maybe in Japan there was, like, a sweepstakes or something, and then, I don't know, the winners could, like, pick their own, like... I don't know, usernames or something. I don't know. It's not like this was an actual online game or anything. Maybe, I don't know, it was like the kind of weird thing where whoever was running the sweepstakes was... I don't know. Maybe it was a website and the users could get their own names in the game, or maybe it was like another online game that they collaborated with for the project. I don't know. But I wouldn't think too much about it. We've already got one of them down. I think it's the Harvest Cleric. And Reaper's Dance is the level 3 arts that you get for the Scythe. And I feel bad, because I feel like I got most of these level 3 arts off-screen, but... I mean, I don't know. I can't go spoil, like, every little thing in .hack GU. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, feel free to go out and get a copy yourself and explore some of the stuff I didn't explore, like chatting with the townspeople. You know, a lot more of the news and forum stuff that I cut out. I mean, definitely check out the news and the forum stuff. I mean, it's not exciting, but, like, it does usually have some interesting stuff to provide, like, lore and stuff. And oh man, that double Ghost Falcon with Alcade. And that's the Sweepstakers. Didn't even take 5 minutes. Neat. I don't know why we're still getting experience, even though we're all maxed out. So yeah, if you wanted to, you could like come back and just do limit battles for fun, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if you get like prizes. You get these 3 weapons for beating them. I guess it's their weapons, but like I don't know. We're kind of good right now. Like anytime I get like a rare weapon, even if I'm not going to use it, I do like to just hang on to it just as like a trophy or a souvenir or something. I mean, I prefer the what am I trying to say? Well, I prefer the twin blade weapons that Tri-Edge gave you, honestly. I really do like that. Halves the target HP on a critical hit skill, so, and you can't like switch out skills on these weapons either because they're rarity level 5. I don't know if I ever explained that, but if you ever find a piece of equipment that's a rarity level of 5, it can't be customized. It's like that's set as it is. But I think everybody's just kind of more or less good on the equipment. I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. It's, I mean, at this point in the game, you know, if you're at level 150, chances are all you have left to do is do this boss at the end of the Forest of Pain. And then, you know, that's it. There's nothing left to do. Maybe if we got that stuff, like, before, but I don't know. I wonder if you could take them on as soon as you complete the game. There was a similar, like, high-level challenge presented to you earlier in the original Dot Hack series that I actually like doing, like, really early. In Dot Hack Outbreak, the 3rd volume of the original series, Sora from Dot Hack Sign, who Haseo supposedly is, it's in at the very end of Dot Hack Sign, Skaith, and not like Haseo's alter ego, but the actual phase Skaith, had data drained Sora and had like, I don't know, I guess attached Sora's consciousness to its wand. I guess that's how like the lore kind of goes. So in Dot Hack Outbreak, at the beginning of the game, there's a forum post mentioning something suspicious in that area with the red wand, and it's a level 70 area. Now, when you start Dot Hack Outbreak, you're probably going to be around level 50, so it could be, like, you might, like, naturally think, you know, wait until later to go get it, and you're going to be finishing Outbreak at around level 70 anyway, so it might seem like something you're going to get at the very end of the game. However, the enemies you face there, if you make a beeline straight for the dungeon and then use Fairy's Orbs and get straight to the bottom to fight as little enemies as possible, it's very possible to get through it if you use the Moon, which is an item that puts enemy to sleep, because all the enemies or most of the enemies, a big boss, Metal Gear. The Moon was an item that put enemies to sleep, and most of the enemies you fight along the way are susceptible to sleep, and it's not like the kind of RPG where if you hit something once while an enemy is asleep, they'll wake back up. They're just powerless. So, like, they may take a while to take down, but it's totally doable. And then you get Sora's blades from the very bottom. You free Sora from the wand, which doesn't really make sense, because then he also doesn't wake up from his coma until, like, the end of quarantine, when all the coma victims wake up and attack Korbanik. But, yeah, Sora's blades are great because they have the death ability on them, which on other weapons doesn't feel like it activates a lot, but on Sora's it feels like it activates, like, very frequently. And what it does is, no matter where your health is, where the opponent's health is at, if you get like a death strike on an opponent, their HP gets to critical level like automatically. And it's very useful for Outbreak, because Outbreak is when the series like really starts ramping up in difficulty, so it kind of like helps counterbalance how difficult some of the enemies are, especially some of those enemies that just like spam healing spells on themselves all the time. Those feel like, you know, you're getting nowhere with them sometimes. But as you can see here, this is what was waiting for us at the bottom of the Forest of Pain. It's just Cernunnos again. Cernunnos, I still don't know how to pronounce its name, and they've said it like 3 times. Yeah, it's a little disappointing and lazy, and honestly kind of feels like something .hack.GU would do. They're just reusing the super boss from the first volume. And mind you, we didn't actually, I don't think we actually saw it on screen. I think I did that off screen, but like I mentioned in an earlier episode, you refight the previous game's super bosses in the Forest of Pain. I think at the 30th and 60th floors. So it is kind of weird that, like, we're fighting it again. I mean, it's got higher HP, and it looks a little different because it's got, like, this gold spiked armor on it. But, like, it's the same fight. So, kind of disappointing. I don't know. I mean, and I don't know if you saw what my gun was doing there. I don't think I realized this until later in the fight. I must just not be paying attention to the numbers, but even when you're like all the way up against the boss, you're doing barely any damage to it at all. And it's got close to 10,000 HP. Maybe this is why the battle is so long. And well, I mean, I guess you can tell by the title of the video, but this is actually the epilogue that we're gonna unlock after beating this. I mean, you do get a special item for defeating this, but I guess if there's any real reason for completing the Forest of Pain, it's to get the epilogue that gives some kind of closure with Haseo and Dovan. I wouldn't really call it that all the way. I feel like it's just Haseo accepting that Ovan's not around, but he'll, like, you know, he'll carry his experiences with Ovan with him, if that makes sense. And it's, I don't know, it's a good lesson to learn and everything, but I mean, GU is so convoluted when it's trying to do, like, character development and everything. Like, I don't know, I've mentioned this before, but I really feel like the whole thing with Haseo and Ovan and Shino is just stuff that's, like, you're supposed to assume for yourself, and we never really get to see, like, the development between them. Like, I've always felt that Ovan was playing this kind of, like, father role to Haseo, or, like, a big brother role or something, and then the Twilight Brigade was supposed to be, like, his family, because Haseo's made a couple of comments about, like, or one comment, really, in .hack Roots saying he and his family don't really get along, and I'm pretty sure there was something else somewhere that was saying something like that. I don't know. Like, I think the implication was Haseo was, I don't know if I would say, like, coming from a broken home, but, like, coming from a not-so-happy family. And I don't know if that had anything to do with, like, what happened to Sora as a kid after the coma thing. You know, if that had anything to do with anything, I don't know. That book never came out in the US, so I don't know. I've never really gone and looked more into it, but you'd think such a critical point for, you know, Haseo's character would have been brought out in the US, but I don't know. Maybe GU wasn't doing as well as they thought they were. But I mean, they brought the GU Plus manga out, and they brought the GU novels out. Yeah, did I forget to mention there were GU novels too? Like, that was, like, the real tail end of my interest in anime. I don't think I even finished buying those. I mean, not that I always jumped on, like, the novelizations that they have for manga every now and then anyway, but, you know, it was .hack, so of course I was collecting them. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Like, in all these other medias, they're, like, yeah, they're trying to really push the Haseo being Sora thing, but I mean, when they don't mention it at all in the games, I'm sorry, it just kind of feels like a cop-out to me. You know, it feels like something they decided after the fact, and they just wanted to make Haseo more complicated because of it. But anyway, back to, like, the Twilight Brigade and Ovan and Haseo and everything like that. Like, I don't know. I still am really disappointed. Like, even though I did enjoy watching Roots again, I am disappointed. Like, they really didn't show a lot of between Ovan and Shino and Haseo. Like, Ovan was barely around at all for it. He talked to Shino more than he talked to Haseo. You know, and for that matter, you know, Shino and Haseo barely spent any quality time together, except for like a few episodes, if that, leading up to her coma. You know, it definitely wasn't enough to, like, make me, like, feel like Haseo felt this much anger and everything throughout the entire series, but, you know, as I'm sure many of you can probably relate to, I'm sure there's been somebody in your life that, you know, whether you intended for it to happen or not, was like, filling the role of somebody else, or filling a role that you wanted them to fill. And then they just, like, disappeared, and it left you, like, frustrated and angry, and, like, you didn't know what to do. And I guess that's, like, probably one of the reasons why I gravitated to Haseo, like, 10 years ago. Because it was around the time when someone like that, like, did leave my life, and it's, I don't know. I don't know if I would still say it's something that's still, like, bothering me. I think I'm past it, but I mean, it was like the first of like what would eventually be like several different people to do a similar thing. So I don't know. Like, I want to have a little more sympathy to the whole situation. I just think it's like presented so poorly in GU now, looking back at it. And, like, maybe that's one of the reasons, like, that is probably the reason why I was, like, so into GU before, and, like, so, you know, into Haseo before, because, you know, I guess it was just me projecting myself onto Haseo, probably, and I'm sure that's why a lot of other teenagers liked it, too. But, I don't know, like, looking back at it now as an adult, it's just, like, Haseo's just, like, this rude little shit that has, like, no manners at all. He's like this edgelord for the sake of being an edgelord. And I mean, maybe most of this is just in Volume 1, granted, but like, when you spend an entire game with him like this, your perception of him really just sticks with that. It doesn't really feel like he's changed that much or learned a lesson or anything like that for most of the series. It just kind of feels like he just stopped doing it as much. And, like, concentrated more on being a responsible person. Until maybe the epilogue here, like, I don't know. The epilogue's corny as hell, but, like, I don't know, maybe there's, like, a small part of me that's, like, happy to see Haseo, like, accept what happened and move on a little bit when I'm thinking about how he was at the very beginning of Volume 1, but I don't know. Come to think of it, I don't really know if he's moved on. Like, he accepted it, but, like, I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see. Shino might bring up the let's go find Ovan thing again. Now, as for, like, factual information, though, instead of, like, character development, I don't think we find out if Ovan's, like, really alive or not. I think that's still kind of, like, up in the air. Personally, of course I think he's alive. Do you honestly think he died from being at ground zero of the rebirth, whatever the fuck that means? Haseo was at ground zero, too, and so was Aino. Why would Ovan be any different? I don't know. He's probably just wandering the real world, finding some other poor boy to use, too. Like, that's another thing. Like, even if, like, we're just looking at Haseo and his, like, quote-unquote character development and his relationship to Ovan and everything, that doesn't mean I have any sympathy for Ovan. Like, I used to think Ovan was so cool because he was, like, the mysterious character, and, you know, he had, like, the glasses thing where sometimes they would get covered with light and his face would be hidden behind the scarf and everything, and that mysterious gun arm and blah, 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 blah. But, like, now it's just, like, who the fuck does Ovan think he is? Like, coming into this game, like, finding some kid that's so lost in life and, like, using him to fulfill his own personal gain for, like, getting his sister out of a coma through some ridiculously convoluted plot involving the Epitaph users and chosen players in an RPG. Like, I'm sorry, I don't... I really want to see the moment where he had gone to several different doctors trying to find a cure for his sister, and he couldn't, and then he thought, maybe, just a maybe, by playing this video game, I can save her. I just don't understand, like, I don't know, and why he wouldn't confide to anybody else. I mean, in that regard, Ovan is just as bad as Haseo. I mean, Haseo was always, like, just, like, taking everything on his own for the longest time, but, like, I don't know, like father, like son, I guess. Ovan did the same thing. Ovan was just, like, a martyr, and that was it, and there we go, we beat Cernosis. And we powered up Reaper's Dance, and we got the DGZ, and we'll check this one out in a little bit, because, it's probably the most single overpowered weapon. Even more overpowered than the Sora's Blades, because even the Sora's Blades aren't gonna, like, do the Death Strike every single shot. It's got a pretty good chance of hitting, but it won't do it for every single shot. It's like not like a guarantee. But the DGZ there, I guess I'll just say it now. One shot of that takes away 95% of the opponent's HP, and it's like, wow, is it really necessary? And on top of which, we've just defeated the post-game super boss. So, oh, sorry, the big boss. Metal Gear! War is hell. So, like, what are we gonna use this thing for? Like, it's the most overpowered and most useless weapon in the game. There's nothing else to do. I guess if you're completing the Ryu books and just going in random areas, they'll make short work of everything, but, like, at this point, I'm done, man. But, I should kind of wrap up my points, because the, well, the epilogue thing is gonna start soon.
I shall give you this for your service.
Yeah, you also get this. I forget what it does. I think it's an armor, but again, who cares?
I guess this puts the Forest of Pain event to an end. So, shall we get back to town?
But wait, there's more! No, just kidding. It's just... Oh man, I should probably talk a little during the epilogue, because knowing my luck...
What was that?
The music that plays during it is probably going to get
okay?
that stupid blocked in 5 countries thing again by Victor Entertainment. But yeah, this is where Haseo came in the anime to get his reward. And we'll see in a sec just what exactly transpires. I think it's also something that's so forced in for the sake of being a callback, but, well, that's just my opinion, I guess. No, Haseo doesn't get this sword. I don't know why this sword is here, because it just, like, transports him to the next scene. But, this music should sound familiar to old .hack fans. This is Harold's theme. You found several white rooms in, the original .hack series when you were investigating, the mysteries behind the world, and you found, like, notes left by Harold, and, like, fragments of the Epitaph of Twilight in there, and they were very, like, surreal, weird rooms, and there's something similar here, too. This is supposedly Harold here, like, the real Harold's room, I guess, or I don't know. I mean, it's just a giant floating red body that's upside down. But, I don't know, like, the whole thing with Harold has always been a little screwy with me. And I guess it's okay to talk over this part. He's just asking him, like, hypothetical questions and seeing how he would answer. When he did this in Ruth, Haseo was just like, "What are you talking about? Give me power. I need to defeat Triads," and other stuff. And then he'd ask him another question. He's like, "Fool, give me the Chaos Emeralds," stuff like that. But so Harold, even in the terminal disc, they said Harold was dead. At the beginning of Dot Hack Liminality, which is the DVD tie-in that came with the Dot Hack original series games, Harold's in the very beginning. I don't know if that was in the past or something that was happening simultaneously to everything else, but I thought he was just alive, but I don't know. The whole thing with Harold is really screwy, because, like, some people, sometimes it feels like the game's trying to tell me he, like, actually implanted his entire, like, personality and soul into the game to become an AI, which is so dumb. And then other times, I feel like it's just Harold's, like a copy of Harold's, like, personality into the game to, like, help kind of... Well, he put himself into the game to try to talk to Morgana, to let Aura be born, because of his whole, like, ridiculous, toxic relationship with a woman that never loved him in the first place. Yeah, like, when you finally meet the actual Herald AI
Maybe I would.
in the games, which is a different Herald AI also than what was in Dot Hack Sign, the whole thing with Herald is so screwy, and
There would be no regrets.
yeah, I don't know.
So,
Like, I love the original series. I'm not saying the story is perfect. I just find it a lot easier to go along with because they spend a lot less time, you know, hanging around it and letting it drag on. It's definitely more to the point and moving, but it still, like, has that mysterious roll to it. But, yeah, I mean, they've said this is Herald too, but I don't know. I don't know how it got here.
never.
I don't know why it's the reward for the Forest of Pain event, because the Forest of Pain event, that's something that CC Corp made, you know? And according to the terminal disc, when they wanted to try to bring Aura back and they wanted to talk to Harold about it, Harold was dead and they couldn't do anything. So it's like, if they have,
Here we go again.
if they have Harold here at the end of the Forest of Pain, then clearly they have some access to the Herald AI, don't they? I don't know. The whole thing with Harold is so screwy. Even, like, Harold in the real world is screwy. Like, I'm not saying it's not, like, plausible or anything for him to, like, be so in love with somebody and, like, as a, like, a one-sided love to, like, have a fictional daughter in a video game with them, but, like, I don't know, it is pretty toxic, but I guess now is when I should shut up and let you see the reunion between father and son. But is it really, Ovan? We left it ambiguous so we can encourage player discussion on the internet.
I'll never be surprised again.
He doesn't sound so surprised or excited now, to be honest.
Vaughn, is this really what you wanted?
To save his sister?
Feels as if I've been
Probably.
dreaming for a very long time.
Me too. Is this dream over yet?
Like those Russian dolls, where layer within layer of reality are ambiguous and endless.
Yes, keep talking metaphors to me, Ovan. It gets me so turned on.
That continued on except for you, Aseo. You were the only one.
What are you talking about?
Everyone loves Haseo's D.
Do you ever wonder how precious memories are, Haseo? When we look back, all that exists is a nostalgic joy.
I don't know about that, Ovan. I'm pretty sure everybody has some bad memories that they don't let, you know,
Let yourself float in the happiness
nostalgia take over.
all around you. Looking back on the two of us, there is so much we gave each other, and so much we took away.
Again, they're like, there wasn't, though.
You, my words, and I, your growth. We drive each other, share each other, complete each other.
Oh my god, just fuck already. Jeez.
Don't you see, Haseo? We are never ending. Even the apocalypse would be just a point that we pass through in eternity.
Yeah, this is supposed to be sweet, but like, me already feeling like Ovan is a pretty toxic person, this just kind of feels like something a toxic person would say to keep somebody in a bad relationship.
Never-ending story. Now, walk forward, Haseo. Walk down your path with your own free will.
Yes, Haseo, come on.
Until we are reunited. Yes, until when together we will walk towards a new daybreak.
Ovan.
And there he goes. Was he real? Was he an illusion? Was he some kind of twisted dot hack character formed from a real person's memory kind of character? I don't know. Let's leave and go marry Alcade now.
I'm back. It doesn't look like anyone noticed what just happened here. Or did it only happen to me?
And instead of asking them, we'll keep it to ourselves.
Never mind.
Because we don't want everybody to know about the wet dream we just had where Ovan said that Haseo completed him. To completion. I forget where I first heard that, but I think it just the word completion is just so funny to me. just because whatever I heard from it from like that sexual nature of it to completion. But yes, we're done, Vital Vista. Hello, Moi Tora. I was a wandering Holy Crest user. Peace has been brought to the land, all thanks to you. Now let me suck your dick, Haseo. Yeah, I mean, enjoy the music. I mean, I love the Lost Ground music in GU. It's a real shame there's not, like... No, I shouldn't even say there's a real shame there's not more of it, because there were so many more Lost Grounds than there were in the original series. In fact, there was only really one Lost Ground in the original series. Unless you want to count, like, the post-game areas, because even those kind of feel, like, different enough to maybe be considered Lost Grounds, if Lost Grounds were indeed a term back then. I don't even think they were, but...
Is Ovan still alive? Or am I just hallucinating?
You're hallucinating, Haseo. Of course he's still alive. He didn't die when the rebirth happened because he was at ground zero or whatever you said before. Like, you were at ground zero too, Haseo, and so is Aina, and both of you are okay. Ovan's just probably somewhere in the real world.
Like it was a dream.
Plotting against some other teenager and how to use him.
It didn't feel real. Was Ovan really there in front of me? Or was he just some kind of illusion?
Maybe it was an illusion of what Haseo wanted to hear from Ovan.
It was.
You complete me, Haseo. Come to my room so you can come to completion.
So what do you think?
All these cleavage shots of Shino. You gotta get as much of that dot hack fan service in as you can, you know?
Well, it was Ovan.
I wish there were more moments like this in the series when they were just like standing around talking about stuff in the town.
Ovan was
That's such an anime smile where they like tilt their head and close their eyes and give that content smile. It's like, of course, I'll do anything for my friends. And then, never mind.
Ovan will be back someday. I really don't know how I know that. I just know he will.
And that's it. That is the epilogue for completing the Forest of Pain. I do think it's a better ending than what Volume 3 gave. Volume 3's ending for the main game was so baffling to me, but I've already talked enough about that. I don't think it's worth going through the Forest of Pain just to see it, though. Because, like, don't forget, the Forest of Pain is 100 floors long. Like, I don't even think all 3 games' dungeons combined that you had to do for the main story were 100 floors long. Like, it's a lot to go through. And I thought the 15-floor dungeon at the end of Dot Hack Quarantine was long. That's nothing compared to this. I mean, I didn't, don't forget, I cut so much of it out just because I didn't want to waste so much time with it. It's like, there's nothing to see. It's all enemies we faced before. It's all just battle. I thought what I did in these post-game videos was kind of pushing it. But I just thought, where else would I just kind of show off the optional characters, you know? So, geez, I don't know. I just don't think the Forest of Pain is worth it. I haven't done this since 10 years ago. And back then, you know, I thought it was, or I don't even know if I thought it was. I did it anyway and didn't complain about it, but, just, I don't know. It's so much to do, you know? It's so tedious. I mean, the good news, I guess, is that you do get this item sometime in the game. Or maybe you find it in the fields or something somewhere. It's an accessory that lets you escape enemy, or avoid enemies. So you can basically walk around and not get into battles. So, I mean, since we were close to 150 in, when we reached the 50th floor of the Forest of Pain, I just got those extra few levels in random areas off-screen. And I just did the last 50 levels of the Forest of Pain with that accessory equipped and just skipped everything. It still took me like an hour to get down there, but, I mean, hey, like... like, what's the point? You can't level up anymore, you know? What's the point of fighting enemies? Yeah, reduce the target's HP by 95%. Dude, why would you need it? Why would you ever need something like this at this point in the game? We're done. We're done with battles and everything, which is funny because the next episode we're gonna show Tabby off for a few minutes before doing the real ending. Some type of artist marries Alcade. It's a marriage that I'm sure is illegal in several places. See you guys for the last one. Bye.